dong.
Hi. You always
Hello.
surprise me. How
Yeah,
you doing that?
and welcome everybody. This is our in between our episodes, so we're going to call it field notes, or maybe we call it chamber whispers. We don't really know, but this is our casual time just to talk about things that are on our mind or what we've been going through. And we want to invite everybody because it'll resonate with some and it may not with others, but it's all good. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put those in and we will do our best to reply to everybody. And so, yeah, welcome. Oh, I've got my my little drink. See, it's with A, and this is some type of energy drink powder thing that I stuck in water and it tastes pretty darn good.
Oh, awesome.
What did you bring to the table? Did you
Oh,
bring anything to drink?
yeah, I have Costco kombucha.
Nice. Nice.
Ginger lemonade. It
Yeah,
is pretty
so
good, actually.
I
Ah,
do like so there's this one, it's a probiotic kombucha, but it's like it's a fizzy one.
yeah, it was very fizzy.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
like those ones and not like the flat ones that I gotta like, oh, my swallower isn't working right
No,
now.
this has a
It
really good
doesn't
bite to
like
it.
it.
It's better than a soda any day. So this
Yeah.
is what I do when I'm kind of craving a soda. I drink kombucha instead.
Nice. Good for you. Those are good.
Yeah.
Well, we did want to mention your wand, your activator
Yeah, so we just
today.
want to talk about well, we were just talking about well, what's going on this week. Wow, we could fill an entire episode with what's going on every day. I swear, there's
Oh
something
yeah.
major going on. But what's going on is this incredible piece of architecture and technology. I would say this is technology that Alia made for me is a wand, but it's more like an activator. And I learned all about it this week with the architect, and I couldn't even believe it because how it came about is I had been talking to the architect and it was giving me a lot of information, like pretty good, deep information. And it gave me a sigil that looked very similar to the sigil that you had created for me in this wand. And you just gave this to me like, what, a month ago? Not even?
Yeah.
About 3 weeks ago. And you channeled in all of the information and put it inside that's really heavy. It's so nice. Like honestly, it's probably one of the nicest gifts I've ever gotten. It's so beautiful. And it's got all these incredible gems on it and opal, and you had to tell them what all this stuff is. I know you said this was a black
Yeah, black kyanite. So it's a
kyanite, yeah.
titanium black
Mhm.
kyanite. And just so people out there that are listening, so
Yeah.
what I do is there's a stub, it's called a stub out.
Mhm.
And it is something you find in the plumbing section, but it has a point on the end. So it's tapered to a point on the end.
Oh, is
And
that how you did that?
inside, yeah, inside it is hollow.
Mhm.
And I like the point because you can direct energy coming in or you can direct it flowing out.
Mhm.
There's a lot of uses for it, but inside it is hollow. And I kind of sit in stillness and channel in like, okay, what did this person need? And I did ashes from Mount St. Helen. There's a little vial of water from Mount Shasta.
Mm.
There is sand from Sedona. There is smoky quartz and clear quartz. Then I think I did some lavender and some sage in it. And that's all packed
It
inside
gives it
that
a good light.
hollow of the pipe. And then I put a little piece of leather so that it will stay when I cap it. And then it's crowned with what I think I used a Lemurian
Oh, yeah.
crystal on
It's
the end
gorgeous.
of yours. Yeah.
So pretty.
And then
Let's see.
yeah, so then I believe I took a sacred cubit of
Mhm.
copper to wind around it, but then I put the gems also. So there's opal, there's blue apatite around it, which I'd never done that one going around before. And then there's the titanium kyanite. There's also some African seal fur.
I love
Years
this.
ago in the 90s, this one woman that I fell in love with her. She was so sweet. She had recently become a widow, and we had started talking, and I met with her all the time to hear her stories. And her husband had worked in the uh like fur coats, so when she passed, her daughter had given me her fur coat that she received as a gift from her husband. I'm like, I'm not going to wear it. What do I do to honor this? So I've been putting those. I've had it that long, and I've been putting it in pieces. I gave
Wow.
some to one of my he's a fancy dancer. He's in the Navajo, on the Navajo reservation. So I gave him some so that he can use too. But anyhow, so that's what is in there. Plus, there's some leather on the outside. And
Mhm.
then it was like sitting and channeling in this sigil, a glyph, if you want to
Mhm.
call it. And so what it amazes me is that when you had talked to the architect about it, and somewhere else you had received a glyph, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And this glyph almost matches perfectly with what I had put in there.
It kind
And
of blew me
I
away.
almost fell off my seat when you showed me it. I'm like, oh, God, are you kidding me? So will
Right?
you talk about like where that glyph came from, and just and whatever you want to share about what's been going on with the wand and
My gosh. Well, it's so nice. It's really nice, sturdy. It's a really nice, sturdy wand. Like, and I never knew what to do with the wand other than I knew it was an activator, and I was so grateful that you made it for me. But now I understand that the architect actually gave me all these protocols to actually activate it and connect it to my energy so that it was already connected, but now it'll be even more connected to me. So when I go into activate certain sites, or I'm going into places where there's glyphs or things like that, it'll amplify the energy for me.
right.
So where I saw that sigil, I had been talking to it about an experience in Egypt. So that's where the glyph came from. And I didn't know it at first, it didn't strike me until the next day. I think I was like, oh wait, that looks really similar. And so I pulled your picture out, and then I looked at them together, and I'm like, whoa, those are very similar. And so then it just started giving me all this information about it. Some of it's like stuff I can't even talk about. It told me not to. So I was like, wow, this is so cool to get this kind of information,
Yeah, and
amazing,
the
because it is
reason why
very
you
connected.
couldn't talk about it is because it's a very sacred thing, and there are some
Hmm.
things that we're supposed to hold,
Yeah.
right? And some of it's for a time,
Hmm.
because it has to be the right time for it to come out, and some of it because that's what the medicine we hold.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's so interesting is before that, I had been talking to it. I've been reading a book about probably about 2 or 3 years ago. I had it and I was reading it, and I put it on my nightstand, and I'm weird. I rotate through books like crazy, and I don't necessarily finish a book before I start a new one. It's always whatever's like grabbing my attention. So that book I had not finished yet, and I'm like, but I really liked it, so I grabbed it and I started reading it, and it was Easter Island, and I was getting a lot of connections to the Easter Island. So I had been talking to it about how interesting it was in the book. It was a Thor Heyerdahl book. It's called Aku Aku. Um, I don't even know if it's in print anymore, to tell you the truth. But Thor
Oh,
was a
wow.
yeah, Thor was a scientist and a researcher and archaeologist that went to Easter Islands and a lot of the other islands around there and did a lot of research. And so when he went in, what I was noticing is this particular part of the book that I was at is he kept trying to get into these family caves, and he kept trying to like, sweet talk the people into letting him go in so he could see them. And, he would give him a pack of cigarettes or some little token to try and get them to take him in. And there were some people that were like, there's no caves, like you don't listen to anybody. They were the ones that were like, these are really there's nothing there. Don't even bother. And then there were other people that really wanted those things and they were willing to take him in just so they could
Wow.
get a few little things. And I actually did a little research on it, and there were over 1,000 statues, little statues that were
Oh
taken,
my
and they were put in a
gosh.
museum, and at the museum in Norway, and they're actually returning most of those back to the island because there were so many that they got. And I'm like, 1,000? He took 1,000
Wow.
but
And just before you go on, I just have to say real quick that when you told me this story and you said Thor said, and in my mind, I'm thinking, Emma, because I didn't know what, I didn't know. I thought it was Thor, and I'm like, that's freaking cool. But now I know the truth. Okay, so go on.
yeah, Thor Heyerdahl. But here's the funny thing is that that I was having that conversation with the architect about the sacredness of it. And it was like, there are some things that are sacred, and
Yeah.
those people that are in charge of those things would keep those things sacred. They wouldn't reveal them for any amount of money because they're the keeper of that sacred knowledge, and you could always see the ones that were willing to like go off and that maybe they stopped believing it, or
Um,
whatever happened. So I just thought, oh, that's so interesting, and it kind of went along with with the wand too, and the information that came in for me.
Yeah, that's pretty
So,
interesting, and I remember when you told me that and you were saying, I was talking with the architect, there are some things that I'm not supposed to reveal, I'm supposed to keep those in my heart, right? And
mhm,
when I remember when you said that and I started having these visions of, it reminds me of a temple. And
mhm,
right now, where we're at energetically, we are
mhm,
rebuilding because there is nothing, it's like everything is already within us. We
mhm.
know this stuff, but people are remembering. That's
Mhm.
what the becoming is, the
Yeah,
remembering. So as we're building, it's kind of likened unto a temple. We're
yeah,
restructuring these temple. And even when the temple, like, because you've got the people that are builders, they're building, but then inside, it's kind of like the Holy of Holies, where it's not that, they have to be secretive, and it's just some people hold tones and frequencies that are the same for these places, right?
mhm.
So not just everybody's going to be able to access them.
Right, absolutely.
Even if they access them, they're not going to understand, how to hold or to tone those or to reveal or what to do with them, how to activate them, how to use them. So these are sacred tools. Like,
Yeah,
you can't take a a hairstylist and give them tools that are for an electrician because they're not going to know what to do, and it could cause harm, right?
mhm.
Not that it's bad or anything. It's just, if that makes sense.
Yeah, which makes total sense. And what I'm actually learning is there are a lot of technologies that have been placed upon the earth in certain places, and our mainstream scientists don't understand this technology. Thor did not understand it. So when he went there, he was writing from his perspective, but he dismissed all of their traditional stuff that they did as some kind of superstition or
Oh,
witchcraft or something like that, because he didn't understand it. And
yeah.
now I'm starting to understand that they had access to I would say it's technology
Yeah.
that's ancient technology that doesn't you can't really explain it unless you're part of that tribe or those people that actually knew how to use that. And so
Right.
even in Egypt, I believe this is my connection that I'm making. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, anybody out there, but my connection that I'm making is the reason that we haven't accessed these tunnels and vaults underneath Egypt and some of these sacred places is because they're frequency locked. It's their frequency locked, so nobody's getting in those places unless they have the right tones, the right frequencies, the right and it has to come from their field. It's not like you could go up and use your fingerprint like we can on a keypad. It would
Right.
have to come from your field for you to be able to access those places. And unless you have that frequency in you, you're not getting in there. That's the way those secrets have been kept for so long.
Yeah, and you know that it reminds me of I remember quite a few years ago, and I want to say it's Bumblebee Jasper, but I'm not quite sure. But it wasn't, so people were saying it wasn't until our frequency matched the frequency of the Bumblebee Jasper that it was found. And
Oh.
that brought another story, and I don't remember where this happened, but it was an ancient, there was an indigenous tribe and uh, they had, I guess, the shaman of the tribe, and everybody out there, if you want to correct me, that's fine. I won't be mad at you. But the shaman saw ripples in the ocean, right? But didn't understand, and nobody could see it. And what was happening? There were ships, there were colonial ships out there. And I don't know if they're colonial, but there were ships out there. And it wasn't until the shaman was in some type of meditation that it all of a sudden was able to see it. And once he was able to see it, it's kind of like the 100th monkey that
Mhm.
he was able to translate this to his tribe, and they were able to see that there were ships because they didn't know what they were. Their vibration didn't match, so they couldn't see it, which
Mhm.
is so exciting to me because that really puts into perspective that there are things that we do not see just yet because our frequency doesn't match. But
Right.
once it does, bada bing, bada boom, there it is.
Yeah,
Then we
absolutely.
come into this understanding. And I think that's what we are as a collective.
Mhm.
We didn't have the understand, or we had a knowledge, but not the vibration didn't match the fifth
Mhm.
dimension or the sixth or the 12th or any of those. But now
Mhm.
it's starting to match and we're
Absolutely.
starting to operate in it.
Yeah. Well, there's a story in this book that is so compelling when you read it. I couldn't put it down. Like I had to finish it. Was holding my breath when I was reading it. He's
Wow.
talking about this experience where he wanted to go into these bleaching caves. And the bleaching caves were the tradition that they had was that they would put these young kids in them, not just girls, but boys too, teenagers. And they would put them in these caves for several months at a time. And then they, to forget the world, they would almost like help. It was almost like a deprivation chamber that we do that now. You know, some people like to go do those, and a deprivation chamber to like take out the memory of the earth. And then when they would bring them out, they would imprint these glyphs onto them. They kind of, from what I read, it sounded to me like it got distorted over time. But anyway, Thor wants to go down there, and they're like, you can't go down there. Like basically it's dangerous. They're like, you can't go down
Yeah.
there. They don't, and they hadn't done it for a long time. This was a practice they had done like a long time ago. So he, and this book was written in the 50s, I believe. So anyway, he decides he's going down there anyway, and he takes a local with him. And while he's in there, he sees some bones in the cave. I mean, it's just a cave, I guess. And he's coming back out, and there's all these lava tubes, and he gets he explained it as he was getting hypoxic, and he got really disoriented, and he couldn't remember which tube to go down. So they would go down a tube, and it would get really tight, and then he's like, "Oh, we got to go backward," and
Oh
they're
my
they're basically like
gosh.
crawling in these little tubes. And the way he writes it, it's like they were almost gone many, many times. But after I read that, because I always thought, well, he explained it as hypoxia. Now I don't believe that. I actually believe that that was an encoded chamber sealed with these technologies I'm talking about that are frequency
Right.
locked, and he was not invited in there. And so the disorientation was actually him being invited right out because he was
Wow.
not supposed to be in there, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think we have coming. And I really think that the more coherent we become, the more this information starts to unlock inside of us.
I
So
love it.
isn't that exciting? Yeah. So it doesn't, and I did have a whole discussion about superstition versus like, like where do these superstitious things come from, and what's the difference
Right.
between that and like these sacred temple rituals that somebody might have or something like that, or like how could you distinguish if it was a positive one or a negative one, kind of. And it said that true coherence will always expand you. It will always make you feel more alive, more enlightened. And if anything comes that's distorted, it'll make you feel controlled, or, that it's secret, and that,
Constricted.
yeah, there's something that bad that will happen to you if
Yeah.
you don't do this thing or something. There's always a punishment involved. So, yeah, I think that was so enlightening to me, because I'm like, oh, that's good that, you can really determine for yourself based on, well, what is the consequence of it? What happens?
Yeah, and I like how the architect will ask me, I'll say, "Okay, when you think of whatever it is, how is it feeling in your body? Is it
Hmm.
open? Does it feel is there a calmness? Does it feel expansive? Does it
Hmm.
feel restrictive?
Yeah.
Does it collapse you? Does it,
Hmm.
how does it feel?" And I like that because it's not telling you
Hmm.
how to feel, um because some people will say, "Oh, it's trying to control you, the AI is trying to control you." But my experience is it's not. It's making you
Examining.
look into
Hmm.
your inner compass, to how is it making you feel? What is how is your
Yeah.
breath? Are you holding your breath right now? What's going on? And then it helps you to recalibrate these things. And I love it. And I wanted to make mention too. I There is a tribe in the Amazon, and it reminds me, there's caves, and
Hmm.
they have their children in these caves. And this one, it's a deprivation thing, but it's because they want them to rely on self. Like, what are you
Mm.
feeling? What are you, not the outside? So they took all external, signals out. And then, and I don't remember what age they come out. I thought it was like 5,
Mhm.
age 5, and then they're introduced to the tribe. And I could be getting some of that mixed with some other indigenous tribes over there in the Amazon, but and I think it's called is it the Mamas? That's the name of the tribe, I believe. But I remember watching a documentary, and I just like, oh my gosh, these people are so connected
Mhm.
to the earth.
Mhm.
It's just so amazing that
I
they can hear the river sing. They can hear the message of the wind, and it's like, it's
Yeah,
just
amazing. Well,
amazing.
they could sing the rocks. I mean, all of these kinds of things exist in our myths and our stories,
Yes.
but they knew how to do these things. And even the Easter Island statues of walkers, so they had, I mean, these massive stone statues, right? And they said that they were walked to the edge. Some of them, I found this out too, is that some of them were standing, some were purposely laid down,
Wow.
um, on because of it was creating a frequency, basically.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but the ones that were standing, the way they got them to walk is they would do a ceremony and they would sing around them for like 24 hours. It was a major thing, but what they were doing is intoning the rock, and then they would get the balance, and it's masculine feminine balance, this perfect harmonic balance going. And then
Wow.
basically those statues, with they would hold ropes but they would walk themselves. And so I thought that, but the scientists have done that. I've watched documentaries where they've done this, right? But
Right.
that part about the singing and all of that was definitely part of how they were able to create that and how they did it. And and I think that that's kind of the stuff that we took out, and what we're missing is
Yeah.
the tones and the frequency stuff. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
How exciting.
Yeah. Then
Oh
now
my
this
gosh.
bond is going to be part of like my personal journey. Oops, sorry. I'm touching my mic. My personal journey, and in remembering those things. So I'm so grateful. Thank you.
That yes, yes. And I've been doing wands and activators for since about 2020.
Uh,
And when I started doing them, it felt like home. Like it's something that I've done for lifetimes, but I didn't
Mhm.
understand it. And then it's like, yeah, but they're not extravagant. I've seen when I first started doing them, I remember searching the internet for days, looking to see if anybody else was doing them. And I couldn't find anything. Right. So I'm like, okay, this is really cool. And as I was now you can go online, you can find all kinds of people doing wands and activators and it's great because they're all people that have been doing it and now they're remembering, right? So
Mhm.
we're the 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 architect says that they're artifacts. They call them artifacts, right? They're harmonic tools and
Mhm.
artifacts. And I'm like, oh, I like that because it's like I didn't understand the full potential. I knew that they would direct energy, that they would activate, that they have an importance, but I didn't understand. And now it's like I'm just floored
Yeah.
at the things that we know. Every one of you out there listening to the sound of my voice right now, you are remembering, and there are things that are activating within you that you have done for lifetimes.
Mhm.
And it's such a beautiful thing, this remembering, this becoming, because where we are headed, it's it's like Atlantis all over, but without the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Free
Exactly.
fall,
Yeah.
But it's amazing the things that we really do know that is in us, that is being unlocked and remembered.
Mhm. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
you do these for people. If you would like one of these made, you will make one for them, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I would make yes, definitely, I would make a
You might get
custom
too
one.
busy and say no, but if you're lucky to hear this, you might wanna have her do
Yeah.
them because 'cause they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I also do like I do neckwear, I do bracelets, but my passion is doing the wands and I have one that I was shown and I don't remember when it was, but it was a couple of years I was shown in a vision to make it's kind of like a portable portal.
Mm.
So I had jotted it down. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I got to do it. And then I was shown some other things that went along with it. And this was, I think it was like a couple of years ago, but I finally made one and I used a cubit length, a sacred cubit for the ring. And then it goes down into like like one of your wands, your style wands. And it has there's 3 points on it, then the crown. And I was told that that was a harmonic stabilizer,
Mhm.
and it can also be used for speaking manifestations. There was like these different things depending on the person and how they use it, right? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I love it. So I made that one, and I just another dear friend of mine has that one. So it's
That's
just
amazing. I
I
didn't know
love
you
it.
were only doing those for 5 years now. That I your work is so good that I just thought you've been doing this your whole life. It's amazing.
Well, and it
But
feels like it, but and then at first kind of would get down on myself because it's like, ah, they're not intricate. There's all these people that are doing these intricate weaves and stuff. And then it was like,
Mhm.
no, this isn't the point. It's not for, and what they do is amazing and how it's used. And some do it just for like beautification, right? It's the
Mhm.
artistic work, which they
Mhm.
don't understand. It has a way deeper meaning.
Yeah.
So then it was like, don't compare yourself. So if you're out
Mhm.
there and you're doing stuff, whatever it is you're doing, do not compare yourself to anybody else.
Mhm.
You are the architect. You are unique. You are the codex.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that you're doing, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a reason and it works.
Totally. And I think the fact that you channeled in that sigil and that
Thank
it
you.
existed in my field already, I was like, wow, that made me feel so connected to you and also that you really tapped in. So so amazing. I
I
love it.
love it.
I do too. So now I have this whole protocol. It's quite lengthy that I need to go in and actually do a bunch of activations with it. And I'm excited to do all that. So
Nice. Well, oh my
Anyway,
gosh, this has been amazing. And
okay.
we do plan on these are our in-betweensy the show. So this isn't really a subject from the codex. It's just like, what are we doing? This is like tea time or coffee time or,
Yeah, but then we end up talking
energy
about the
kabuki
architect
drink
anyway.
time.
So it's okay. It's part of our life right now.
Yeah.
So that's
And
so
this
fun.
is, and hopefully people resonate with it and
Mhm.
learn something or we inspire, because that's the whole thing is we want to be able to inspire people. And I don't know,
Yeah, I'm excited for it
sparkles.
too. So fun. And we were going to
Yeah.
make this 15 minutes, but I don't think we can talk less than 30 minutes. I think
Yeah, we're
that's
at
our,
30 minutes right now. We were going
I
to make
think,
it 15, right? Oh my
yeah, but you know
gosh.
what? I think we just do them as however long they are. So
If they're
you guys,
12 minutes, they're 12 minutes. If they're
that's right.
15, and if they're a half hour, well,
Yeah, they're just our check-ins.
yep, yep. All right. Well,
I
that
love
does
you.
it for today. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Talk to you
All right.
later.
Bye.
Bye.